We are looking at a potential heist that makes the sale of the North Side look like a playground dispute. We are talking about the complete erasure of the Roloff legacy, not by a stranger, but by the one person Matt Roloff trusts the most. Reports are flooding in, and if the leaked details of this Arizona document are even half true, we aren't just watching a reality show anymore. We are watching a systematic dismantling of Zach and Jeremy's birthright. The viral hook that has everyone talking isn't just a rumor. It is a terrifying possibility that explains everything we have seen for the last 2 years. Caryn stealing the kids' $2 million future? The secret contract Matt almost signed? We have uncovered an alleged legal trap designed to hand the farm keys to Caryn's children, leaving the Roloff twins with absolutely nothing. This is the story of the move, the manipulation, and the document that almost changed everything. Welcome back to the channel, where we don't just watch the show, we investigate the truth behind the cameras. Today we are digging into a theory so explosive, it changes how you will look at every single interaction in the upcoming season. We need to talk about Arizona. We need to talk about the delay in the wedding. But mostly, we need to talk about a piece of paper that sources suggest was drafted in secret. A document that Amy Roloff allegedly intercepted just in time. Let's set the scene, because the geography here is just as important as the psychology. For months, we have watched Matt Roloff spending less time in Oregon and more time in Surprise, Arizona. On the surface, the show frames this as retirement. They want you to believe this is just a grandfather slowing down, seeking the sun, and resting his body after decades of labor. But insiders are painting a drastically different picture. The theory gaining traction among those close to production is that the Arizona home isn't a vacation spot, it is a fortress. It is a headquarters for a new life that does not include the baggage of the farm wars. We have seen Caryn decorating this new mansion. We have seen the investments pouring into the property. But look closer at the timeline. This surge in Arizona activity correlates perfectly with the breakdown of negotiations with Zach and the estrangement from the grandsons. Why would Matt, a man obsessed with his legacy, suddenly seem so comfortable being hundreds of miles away from the very land he claimed he wanted to keep in the family? The answer might lie in asset integration. The word on the street is that Matt and Caryn are in the process of what estate planners call merging their estates. Now, typically, when a couple gets married, especially late in life with children from previous marriages, you establish a prenup to keep things separate. You protect your kids, she protects hers. That is the standard. That is what Matt promised. But the terrifying theory we are exploring today is that the opposite is happening. Reports suggest that Caryn has been subtly pressuring Matt for a post-nuptial style agreement, even before the legal wedding takes place, or perhaps as a precondition to it. Why is this dangerous? Because of the managerial clause. We have received tips about a specific draft agreement that was circulating between legal teams. A draft that Caryn allegedly pushed for under the guise of security. The narrative she is spinning to Matt, according to our analysis of the situation, is one of fear. She is telling him that if his health fails, if he has another surgery, if he passes away suddenly, the Roloff kids, Zach, Jeremy, maybe even Amy, will kick her to the curb. She is playing the victim card to justify a power grab. She tells him, "We need to protect ourselves. My kids deserve security too if I'm going to dedicate my life to taking care of you." It sounds reasonable on the surface to a man in love. But here is where the villain's manipulation comes into play, and it is chilling. The theory suggests that Caryn knows exactly what she is doing with the fine print. Matt has admitted openly that his eyesight is failing. We have seen him struggle with reading small text on the show. He relies on Caryn for the day-to-day operations, for reading emails, for managing the chaos. If there was ever a time to slip a complex legal clause past a sharp businessman, it is now. The alleged plan revolves around a specific asset transfer. The Arizona property is valued at roughly $2 million, give or take, depending on the market. But the document in question reportedly doesn't just cover the Arizona house. It links the Arizona estate to the Oregon production. The trap is a clause that defines the Arizona residence as the primary managerial hub for all Roloff enterprises. If Matt signs this, and if the clause stands, it means that whoever controls the Arizona house controls the decision-making power for the farm back in Oregon. And who would inherit the Arizona house under this proposed agreement? Not the Roloff Trust, not Zach, not Jeremy. The draft allegedly stipulates that upon Matt's incapacitation, not just death, but incapacitation, ownership and control of the joint assets in Arizona transfer to the surviving partner and their biological heirs. That is the key phrase, and their biological heirs. If Matt is incapacitated, Caryn takes over. If Caryn then passes or steps down, that authority flows to her children, Chandler's kids. This legal maneuver would effectively bypass the Roloff children entirely. It is a backdoor takeover. Imagine a scenario where Zach has to ask Caryn's son for permission to film on the farm because the management rights are tied to the Arizona estate, which is now owned by the Chandlers. It sounds like a conspiracy, but when you look at how aggressively Caryn has inserted herself into farm business, attending negotiations, speaking for Matt, managing the employees, it fits the pattern perfectly. This isn't just about money, it's about erasing a bloodline from the business. Matt is being led to believe this is about simplicity. Caryn likely frames it as, "Matt, this just makes it easier. If something happens to you, I can pay the bills without waiting for probate. It keeps Amy out of our hair." She uses his animosity toward Amy and his frustration with the entitled behavior of the twins as a weapon. She is weaponizing his exhaustion. We have to look at the psychological warfare happening here. For the last 3 seasons, we have watched Matt become increasingly isolated. The narrative is always that the kids are ungrateful. Who is reinforcing that narrative? Who is the one whispering in his ear every night in Arizona, far away from the grandkids? It is Caryn. By isolating him geographically in Arizona, she creates an echo chamber. In that echo chamber, the only person who truly cares about Matt is Caryn, and therefore the only person who deserves the security of the estate is Caryn and her lineage. There is also the matter of the loan. There are rumors of financial intertwining that we haven't fully seen on camera yet. Some theories suggest that Caryn has put her own money into the Arizona renovation, giving her a leverage point to demand this contract. She can claim, "I invested my retirement into this house, Matt. I need this contract to guarantee I get my money back." But the contract doesn't just give her money back, it gives her the keys to the kingdom. Let's go deeper into the specific wording that sources claim was in this document. The phrase, "management of Oregon assets," is the smoking gun. A standard prenup or will would deal with the physical land, who gets the dirt. But the business, the pumpkin patch, the filming rights, the licensing, that is where the real ongoing money is. If Caryn secures the management rights through this Arizona loophole, the land ownership becomes irrelevant. Zach could own the dirt, but Caryn could own the right to operate the business on that dirt. She could charge the Roloffs rent to use their own farm for the show. It is a brilliant, diabolical legal strategy. And Matt? He seems oblivious. He is decorating the new patio. He is talking about how much he loves the Arizona weather. He is checking out mentally. This is exactly what a manipulator wants, a checked-out target. The more distant Matt becomes from the daily grind of the farm, the more he relies on Caryn to handle the paperwork. And that is where the ink becomes dangerous.
We also need to consider the timing of the engagement. Why the long engagement? Why no wedding date? Exclusive theories suggest that Caryn is the one stalling, not Matt. Why would she stall? Because once they are married, spousal rights kick in automatically, but they are subject to state laws that might protect the pre-existing children. By getting him to sign a specific asset agreement before the marriage, as a condition of the marriage, she bypasses the standard protections. She creates a custom contract that supersedes standard inheritance law. This isn't a prenup to protect Matt's assets. It's a prenup to extract them. The $2 million Arizona asset is the Trojan horse. It looks like a retirement home. It looks like a safe haven. But inside the walls of that deal, inside the paperwork filed in Maricopa County, lies the mechanism to dismantle the Roloff legacy. Matt thinks he is building a nest egg for his golden years. The reality? He is building a vault for the Chandler family. Think about the tension we saw in the last season finale. The look on Caryn's face when Matt talks about leaving things to the kids. She always tightens up. She always interjects. Well, we have to see what's practical, Matt. Practical is her code word for profitable for me. We are watching a slow-motion heist. But every heist has a glitch. Every perfect crime has a witness. And in this story, the witness comes from the most unlikely place, the office assistant, the disgruntled employee. In the next section, we are going to break down exactly how this document leaked. How did it get from a lawyer's desk in Arizona to a kitchen table in Oregon? And more importantly, how did it end up in the hands of the one person Caryn fears most, Amy Roloff? The discovery phase of this drama is where the adrenaline really kicks in. Because up until this point, Matt is walking into the trap blind. He trusts Caryn. He thinks she is his savior. He has no idea that the pen he is holding is about to sign away his children's future. But the walls have ears, and the Roloff farm office has been a leaky ship for years. The theory goes that Caryn, feeling confident, made a mistake. She sent a draft to the wrong email chain, or perhaps left a printed copy on a desk she thought was private. Or maybe, just maybe, someone on the production crew, seeing the injustice, decided to tip off the other side. However it happened, the intel is about to land in Amy's lap, and the explosion that follows will reshape the entire family dynamic. We are seeing the calm before the storm. The Arizona sun is shining, Matt is relaxing, and Caryn is smiling that tight-lipped smile, thinking she has won. She thinks the Chandler heirs clause is buried deep enough that no one will notice until it is too late. She is banking on Matt's fatigue. She is banking on the kid's absence. But she forgot to account for the protective instinct of a mother who, despite the divorce, still knows a bad deal when she sees one. We have been waiting 5 years to see. The villain has set the trap. The victim is walking toward it. But the hero is just finding the map. This is the story of the secret prenup, and we are just getting started. We are now entering the most volatile chapter of this saga. If the Arizona move was the setup and the secret document was the weapon, then what happens next is the trigger pull. We left off with Caryn allegedly feeling secure, believing the complex legal language of the Arizona Asset Management Clause was buried deep enough to escape notice. She was banking on Matt's failing vision and his emotional dependency. But in the world of high-stakes reality TV and multi-million-dollar estates, paper trails are never truly invisible. The discovery of this document didn't happen in a courtroom. It didn't happen during a scheduled mediation. According to exclusive insider theories, it happened because of a simple clerical error that could cost Caryn Chandler everything. The rumor mill is spinning with reports that a disgruntled office assistant, someone who has worked in the background of Roloff Farms for years and has grown tired of the new management style, forwarded an email chain that they weren't supposed to. Picture the scene. It's a Tuesday morning in Oregon. Amy Roloff is sitting at her kitchen table, perhaps going over wedding details or dealing with her own business ventures. Her inbox pings. The subject line is innocuous, something like, "Updated asset schedules, draft 4. At first glance, she probably thinks it's about the lingering details of the Northside sale, or maybe taxes. But when she opens the attachment, she realizes she is looking at something she was never meant to see. It wasn't a document for the Roloff kids. It was a draft of the marital asset consolidation agreement between Matt Roloff and Caryn Chandler. And right there, buried on page 14, section C, paragraph 3, was the bombshell. Amy isn't a lawyer, but she has been navigating contracts for 30 years. She knows the language of the farm. She knows the language of ownership. And as she scanned the document, one phrase reportedly leaped off the page: Chandler heirs. Why would the name Chandler appear in the succession plan for the Roloff estate? Amy calls Chris. This is where the dynamic shifts. Chris Merrick, often seen as the laid-back, easygoing guy, is also a seasoned real estate agent. He understands contracts. He understands the fine print of property law. He rushes over, and together they dissect the document.
This is the discovery phase, and it is absolutely crucial to understanding the gravity of the situation. Chris allegedly points out the managerial clause we discussed earlier. He explains to Amy that this isn't just about who gets the Arizona house. The document uses a legal mechanism called cross-collateralization. It ties the decision-making power of the Oregon farm to the ownership of the Arizona residents. In simple terms, whoever holds the keys to the Arizona mansion holds the tie-breaking vote for the farm operations in Oregon. The theory suggests the clause was written to activate in the event of incapacitation. This is the terrifying part. It doesn't require Matt to die. It only requires a doctor to say Matt is temporarily unable to manage his affairs due to health reasons, something that is a very real possibility given his medical history. If that happens, the power of attorney doesn't go to Zach, it doesn't go to Jeremy, it goes to the primary resident of the Arizona estate, Caryn. And here's the kicker that Chris allegedly found. The document states that if the power of attorney is activated for more than 180 days, the temporary transfer of management rights becomes permanent to ensure stability of the enterprise. This is a takeover disguised as a safety net. Amy realizes the implications immediately. It's a trap, a legal trap designed to bypass the Roloff children entirely. If Matt has a bad fall or a surgery recovery that takes 6 months, Caryn effectively inherits the farm's control while Matt is still alive. And by the time he recovers, the stability clause has locked her in as the permanent decision-maker. And because the Arizona house is set to go to her children, the Chandler heirs, the farm's future management is effectively funneled away from the Roloff bloodline forever. The anger in that kitchen must have been palpable. For years, Amy has been accused of being bitter. She has been painted as the ex-wife who can't let go. But this validates every suspicion she ever had. This proves that her jealousy was actually intuition. She wasn't crazy, she was right. Caryn wasn't just dating Matt, she was dating the portfolio. The question then becomes, what do they do? If they call Matt on the phone, Caryn might be there. She might intercept the call. She might spin the narrative before Amy can get a word in. Oh, Matt, Amy is just trying to stir up trouble again. She's jealous of our new house. They know they cannot handle this remotely. They have to do this in person. They have to intervene. This leads us to the most dramatic moment of this theory, the intervention. We are hearing reports of an unscheduled, frantic drive to the farm. Amy and Chris, armed with the printed draft of the contract and yes, literally a magnifying glass, symbolic perhaps but necessary for Matt, arrive at the farm office.
The timing is critical. They have to catch Matt alone. Sources suggest they waited until Caryn was out running errands or perhaps back in Arizona dealing with the contractors. They find Matt in his office, surrounded by his usual chaotic piles of papers, unaware that his entire world is about to be turned upside down. Matt sees them coming. You can imagine his reaction. He's defensive. He thinks they are coming to nag him about the kids or the wedding. He puts up his guard. "What is it now, Amy? I'm busy." But Amy doesn't yell. That's the change we've seen in her. She doesn't come in screaming. She comes in with the cold, hard silence of someone who holds a smoking gun. She slams the document on the desk. "Read it, Matt," she says. Matt, confused, looks at the paper. "What is this? This is private legal correspondence." "Read page 14, Chris tells him. "Read the part about your children." Matt squints. He can't see it clearly. This is the moment the villain's manipulation crumbles. Caryn counted on him not reading it. She counted on him trusting her summary. But now, with Chris Merrick standing there, reading the legal jargon out loud, the fog begins to lift. Chris reads the clause. In the event of the primary owner's incapacitation, all managerial duties regarding the Oregon agritourism business shall transfer to the Arizona Trust Administrator. And who is the Arizona Trust Administrator, Matt? Amy asks. Matt looks at the definitions page. Caryn. And who are the beneficiaries of the Arizona Trust? Matt pauses. He assumes it's him and Caryn, and then eventually his kids. He looks at the text. The surviving spouse and her biological issue. Her biological issue. That legal term means her kids.
Not yours, not the twins, not Molly, not Jacob, her biological issue. The silence in that office is deafening. The theory is that Matt genuinely did not know. He didn't know the specific wording. Caryn had likely told him, "It just ensures I can pay the gardeners if you're in the hospital, honey." She glossed over the biological issue part. She glossed over the permanent transfer after 180 days part. Amy looks him in the eye. "She's not just marrying you, Matt. She's replacing your children with hers. You are signing away the legacy you built for Jeremy and Zach, and you are handing it to people who didn't build a single fence on this property." This is the intervention moment where the reality of the secret prenup hits Matt Roloff like a freight train. He realizes that his isolation in Arizona wasn't just about sunshine. It was about blinding him. It was about separating him from the people who would have spotted this clause instantly. We have to analyze Matt's psychology here. He is a control freak. He loves control. The idea that someone was trying to wrestle control away from him under his very nose is the ultimate betrayal. He can handle Amy yelling at him. He can handle the kids being mad at him, but he cannot handle being played as a fool. And Chris Merrick adds the final nail in the coffin. "Matt, I sell houses for a living. I see contracts every day. This isn't a prenup to protect assets. This is a deed of transfer. This is a sale that you aren't getting paid for." The air leaves the room. The urgency of this situation cannot be overstated. If Matt had signed this, and rumors say he was days away from signing, perhaps scheduled to notarize it during his next trip down south, it would have been irreversible. Once an irrevocable trust structure is signed, it is nearly impossible to undo without years of litigation. Caryn would have won. The Roloff farm, the legacy of 30 years of TV history, would have become the Chandler farm in all but name. But the intervention isn't over yet. Matt is stunned, but he is also proud. He doesn't want to admit he was duped. He tries to rationalize it. Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe the lawyers drafted the wrong version. Caryn wouldn't do this. Amy isn't having it. Look at the timestamp, Matt. This is draft 4. You don't get to draft 4 with a typo like biological issue unless you mean it. She reviewed this. She approved this. They show him the email chain. They show him Caryn's replies to the lawyers. "Looks good to me. Let's get this in front of Matt ASAP before he changes his mind." That sentence, "before he changes his mind," that is not the language of a loving partner protecting her husband. That is the language of a closer trying to seal a deal. This discovery phase shifts the entire narrative of the upcoming season. We are no longer watching a family fight about pumpkins. We are watching a family fight off a hostile takeover. The villain has been unmasked, not by a dramatic reveal at a dinner party, but by the diligence of the one person who has been cast aside, Amy. We are left with a shattered Matt Roloff sitting in his office, the buzzing of the farm equipment outside, and the terrible realization settling in his gut. The woman he loves, the woman he defended against his own children, has drafted a plan to erase them. Amy and Chris have done their part. They have exposed the trap. But now the ball is in Matt's court. What does he do? Does he confront Caryn? Does he shred the document? Or does Caryn have one more ace up her sleeve to explain this away? The battle lines have been redrawn. It is no longer Matt versus Amy. It is the Roloffs versus the Chandlers. And as we move into the final act of this deep dive, we are going to see exactly how Matt Roloff reacts when the little people, big world become little people, big betrayal. He has a choice to make: admit he was wrong and save the farm for his kids, or double down and lose everything. The victory is coming, but it won't be easy. And the fallout from this intervention is going to be messier than any pumpkin season we have ever seen. We are now looking at the fallout. The aftermath. The moment the fog lifted in the farm office and Matt Roloff had to face the most uncomfortable truth of his life. We left off with Amy and Chris standing over the desk, the draft 4 document open to the damning clause about biological issue and the permanent transfer of management rights. The silence in that room wasn't just awkward, it was the sound of a worldview shattering.
Matt Roloff, the man who prides himself on being the smartest guy in the room, the visionary, the negotiator, realized he was moments away from signing his own legacy over to a lineage that isn't his. The victory in this story isn't a parade. It's a quiet, ruthless legal maneuver that effectively neutralized the threat Caryn Chandler allegedly posed to the Roloff estate. But before we get to the checkmate, we have to understand the immediate reaction. Sources inside the family circle suggest that Matt didn't explode. He didn't start screaming. That isn't his style. When Matt realizes he's been played, he gets very, very quiet. He gets calculated. According to our theories, once the gravity of the Arizona Asset Hub clause sunk in, Matt asked Amy and Chris to leave the room. He needed to make a phone call, and he didn't call Caryn. He didn't call the lawyer Caryn had recommended in Arizona, the one who supposedly drafted the protection agreement. He called his old estate attorney in Oregon, the one who handled the divorce, the one who knows where everybody is buried on that farm. The conversation that allegedly took place was short and brutal. Matt likely read the clause over the phone. We can imagine the lawyer's response. Matt, if you sign that, you are effectively disinheriting your children from any decision-making power regarding the farm's future. You are giving non-spouse executive control. That confirmation was the final nail. The villain's manipulation had relied on trust. It relied on Matt not checking the work. But now, the work has been checked. Here is where the story turns into a game of 4D chess. Matt didn't break up with Caryn. He didn't kick her out of the Arizona house. Why? Because of the show, because of his pride, and because he needed to test her. The theory is that Matt decided to play the dumb old man card one last time. He reportedly met with Caryn later that week and casually brought up the signing. He asked her, "Hey, I was looking at that draft. Are we sure this covers the kids? I want to make sure Zach and Jeremy are protected if I get sick." And this is the moment Caryn allegedly sealed her fate. Instead of saying, "Let's double-check with the lawyer," she reportedly doubled down. "Oh, Matt, stop worrying. It's a standard language. It just keeps the courts out of it so I can take care of you. Do you want to leave me with nothing if you die?" She went on a guilt trip. She went for emotional manipulation. She didn't know he had already seen the biological issue clause. By lying to his face about the intent of the document, she confirmed everything Amy had warned him about. So Matt Roloff executed the victory move. It wasn't a confrontation. It was a restructuring. In the weeks that followed, while Caryn was busy picking out tile for the Arizona backlog, Matt was secretly meeting with a trust attorney in Oregon. He didn't sign the Arizona prenup. Instead, he created a firewall. We are hearing exclusive reports that Matt moved the ownership of the Roloff farm, specifically the remaining acreage and the production rights, into a new, irrevocable family trust. This is the key. Irrevocable. Once assets are in an irrevocable trust, they are no longer personal property in the same way. They cannot be claimed in a divorce. They cannot be transferred via a simple will or a deceptive postnuptial agreement. And the most important part? The trust allegedly dictates that the trustee, the person who manages the farm, must be a blood descendant of Matthew Roloff. This is the trap reversed. By inserting a bloodline protection clause, Matt effectively made the Arizona document worthless. Even if Caryn got him to sign that managing agreement later, it wouldn't matter. The Arizona document would claim authority over assets that Matt personally no longer holds. The trust holds them. And the trust doesn't care about Caryn's Arizona house. The trust only cares about Roloff's blood. It was a brilliant defensive stroke. It protected the farm for Zach, Jeremy, Molly, and Jacob, regardless of their current relationship status with their dad. It ensured that no matter who Matt marries or who manages his health care, the farm stays in the family. Caryn's reaction when she found out was, by all accounts, ice cold. The rumors suggest she didn't find out until much later, perhaps when she tried to push for the signing again. The lawyers are waiting, Matt, and Matt, with a newfound confidence, likely dropped the bombshell. "Oh, I handled it, Caryn. I put everything in trust for the kids. We don't need that complicated Arizona agreement anymore. We can just be together now without worrying about the legal stuff." Can you imagine? He flipped her own narrative on her. She claimed she wanted security and simplicity, so he gave her simplicity. You get nothing from the farm, so now we can just simply be in love. If she was truly in it for love, she would be happy. If she was in it for the money, well, we saw the cracks start to form immediately. This explains the delay in the wedding. This explains the tension we have seen in the recent promotional clips. The plan to seize the estate failed spectacularly. The $2 million Arizona asset is just a house now. It's not a command center. It's not a hub. It's just expensive stucco in the desert. Caryn is now stuck. She is engaged to a man who has legally locked up his fortune. She has to play the part of the supportive fiancé. But the prize she was eyeing, the managerial control of the Roloff empire, is gone. The ink is dry on the trust, not the prenup. And let's give credit where credit is due. This victory belongs to Amy Roloff. For years, the audience has been conditioned to see Amy as the obstacle. Amy is difficult. Amy takes too long to move. But in this narrative, Amy's suspicion was the only thing that saved the farm. She didn't do it for herself. She has her own money. She has Chris. She did it for the children who were being pushed out. She saw the secret prenup for what it was, a theft. The intervention she staged with Chris wasn't petty. It was protective. It was the act of a mother bear realizing the wolves were not at the door, but inside the house. By exposing the Chandler heirs clause, she forced Matt to open his eyes. She saved him from his own blind trust. So, where does this leave us? The family is still fractured, yes. Zach and Matt are still not speaking like they used to. But the asset, the land, the legacy, is safe. The Caryn coup was thwarted. The secret contract is now just a scrap of paper in a shredder somewhere in Hillsborough.
But do you think Matt finally understands Caryn's true motives? That is the lingering question. He secured the assets, yes, but he is still with her. Is he keeping her close because he doesn't want to be alone? Or is he keeping her close because he's watching her now? We are entering a new era of little people, big world. The naive Matt Roloff is gone. The man who thought he could merge his new life with his old legacy seamlessly has woken up. He knows now that there are forces in his own home that want to strip his children of their birthright. He blocked the shot this time, but Caryn is a patient player. She played the long game to get the ring. Will she play a longer game to break the trust? The document may be dead, but the ambition isn't. Caryn is still there. She is still in the interviews. She is still holding his hand. But look at her eyes in the next episode. Look at how she reacts when the kids are mentioned. She almost got away with it. She was a signature away from controlling everything. And she knows that we know. This story of the secret prenup and the Arizona trap changes everything we thought we knew about the farm's future. It wasn't about pumpkins, it was about power. And for the first time in a long time, the good guys won. The kids' $2 million future is safe, for now. But this brings us to the most terrifying possibility of all. If Caryn was willing to draft a secret document to take the farm while Matt was alive, what is she planning now that she knows the trust is in place? There are loopholes in every trust. There are ways to challenge mental capacity. The battle for the farm isn't over. It has just moved from the negotiation table to the courtroom of the future. We have received one final report that suggests Caryn is already meeting with new lawyers, specialists in trust contestation. She isn't giving up. She is reloading. You need to be ready for what's coming next. The show producers are trying to edit around this. They want to give you the happy wedding storyline, but we are here to give you the truth. The war for Roloff Farms has gone cold, silent, and incredibly dangerous. Did Matt make the right call by staying with her? Or is he sleeping next to the enemy? And what is Amy's next move now that she knows exactly what Caryn is capable of? If you want to know the truth about the trust contestation rumors and the secret recording that Zach supposedly has on his phone that proves everything we just talked about, you need to be subscribed. We are scrubbing the internet for the next leak. We are talking to the insiders who are tired of the silence. She almost stole the farm. Amy stopped her. But the villain never just walks away. Hit that subscribe button right now. Turn on notifications. You do not want to miss the final showdown video coming tomorrow where we reveal the secret recording that changes the game entirely. The script has been flipped, and reality is stranger than fiction. Thanks for watching, and keep your eyes open, because on this farm, nothing is what it seems.